Well, who do I have with me today?
My name is Darren Cook, and I own and operate Custom Glass Tinting. We are Lakeland's second oldest glass tinting company. Next month is 39 years for us.
39 years.
39 years.
In Lakeland?
In Lakeland. Originally started by Patrick Boykin in 1986.
Who is that, if you don't mind me asking?
Patrick Boykin is my uncle, and he started it in 1986. We started on Gary Road in a little itty bitty warehouse. It was just a one-car garage door warehouse. He at first self-taught, tried to get a job with the oldest window tinting company in Lakeland for years. Was unsuccessful at getting that job, so then decided to open up his first competition. So he started in a small warehouse over on Gary Road. After that, he had a shop built on Edgewood, I believe is now sells grills, I believe. Had that for many years and then sold that shop and decided to go mobile. But Patrick started it in 1986, so we got 39 years, August in 1986.
That's not by chance when he graduated from high school, right out of high school, is it?
No. He was older than that. He came back from the military. He was stationed over in Germany. Funny enough, over there they had tint in a can. And so that's when he first discovered tint. And of course, it was a totally different product. He had to learn how to evenly put the film onto the window without causing runs or over darkness.
So it was a liquid that he applied?
It was in a can, tint in a can.
And it was correct. A liquid that he would have to thin out and make. Wow, I hadn't even heard of that, let alone.
And when he came back to the States, after doing 4 years in the military, he discovered that they had actual plastic vinyls, they had films. So he just thought that was the neatest thing, started getting into it, self-taught, bought these kits, did his own vehicles, his friends' vehicles, kind of went from there. He became efficient at it and then just decided to start a business out of it. And he did that for 35 years.
Wow.
35 years.
So your uncle, so you grew up seeing it?
Yes. Not so much grew up seeing it. There was many years he was by himself and did it and had a crew and everything. And then I kind of came in years down the road, but I came in as kind of like part-time help. Like when he had a big job, I would just help him out. I was a little, we call them window lickers, but I was a little cleaner. So all I would do is clean the windows, prep the windows, get him tools, get him film, things like that. And it just started like that with just the larger jobs. But I found it intriguing. I found it very fascinating. He always put it as coloring glass. And I always thought it was neat because when you roll the film out and then now all of a sudden instead of clear glass you have whatever color of film you've selected, and it kind of just brought a different aesthetic to the glass, and I thought that was really neat.
The spectrum of light?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, and I thought that was really neat.
That is neat.
And then it just kind of progressed from there to where I didn't like the industry I was in. I originally came down in the early 2000s.
From where?
Illinois, actually.
Illinois, okay.
Yep, just right not too far from you.
Okay.
Just south of the Wisconsin border. So used to the cold, don't like it, still don't like it.
Man, I miss it. I love it.
You really?
Oh my God, I love it.
No, I'm not a fan of it. I came down here on vacation one November, and I'm like, when's it start getting a little chilly? And they're like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen down here.
It ain't gonna happen.
And that's what they said. And it never did. I was down here for 2 weeks. And I'm like, this is where I need to be. Like, this is perfect. I love this all year round. And of course, I've been down here long enough now that when we break down into the low 40s and stuff, I get a little chilly. But for the most part, I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. No snow.
That was 3 days in February.
Exactly. So I didn't like the industry I was in, which was hospitality. I did restaurant industry. I worked many years at Outback. I worked a few years over at Harry's Bar and Grill just down the street.
Oh, you did?
And I loved the industry as far as the hospitality part. I'm a people person. I loved dealing with the people. I just didn't like the business aspect of it. I didn't like the corporate mentality of it. It was very tough to deal with. I always kind of had that different viewpoint or that
common sense.
Yes, common sense, and always about solutions. I love solutions. And corporate is just very, we're going to do it our way, even if it doesn't work. And it's a very strict solution versus let's see what the solutions are and go for the best one. And so I kind of started phasing myself out of hospitality. And I had conversations with Patrick about starting to work with him more. He was getting a little older at the time and wanted to eventually retire. So I came on board when I had an incident at the last restaurant I was working with, kind of put me in a situation and I had to step away from that restaurant. And so to Patrick's surprise, I kind of came over and I said, hey, guess what I did? And he was like, what'd you do? And I was like, I quit my job. I work for you now. And he was shocked, and he was like, we've never discussed the details. He goes, what are you doing? And I said, don't worry about it. It's going to work out. It's going to be fine. And I actually started just on commission-based. And then I worked my way up to part-time, and then full-time, and then salary, and eventually he retired about 4 or 5 years ago, and now I own the business.
Isn't that neat how it works out?
It is. A lot of times you just have to have the belief and the trust in yourself, which is very difficult, but just be adamant with your discipline and what you want to do and what you need to do. And I always believe it works out.
That is fantastic. And you'll find, and I know you know this already, obviously, that the corporate mentality is in every industry.
Yes.
Doesn't matter the industry it is, doesn't matter.
Yes.
The corporate doesn't offer personal service.
Correct.
The corporate is about that stock price, that saving that last expense.
Bottom dollar.
Yeah,
That's all it's about, is bottom dollar for corporate.
That's right. So tell me specifically what services you offer. Who are your ideal customers, if you don't mind?
Okay. So we offer architectural films for residential and commercial buildings. Architectural films is completely different than automotive films. In fact, this year with my marketing team, I recently told you before this that we haven't paid for advertising in over 22 years because of our word of mouth, and our referral rate is exceptionally high. But this year, my biggest issue that I wanted to tackle was awareness. Most people aren't aware that you can tint a house. And so when they do, it's a kind of a twofold thing. Even when they do find out that you can tint a house, they think automotive film, so they think dark. And they don't, I don't want blacked out windows, I don't want that kind of stuff, I don't want my house to look like that. Architectural film is completely different than automotive film. And so with architectural film, we have from completely clear films that still block out around 42% of the heat.
42%.
42, even the clear side blocks up to 42, and 98% of the ultraviolet rays. All the way up to dark mirrored films that'll give you 100% privacy during the daytime, but can get as high as 83% heat rejection and still blocking out 99% of the ultraviolet rays.
And how much can you see through that?
You can see through, it's like having polarized sunglasses on. During the daytime, of course, because of this dark nature at nighttime, it's a little bit difficult to see out, but during the daytime, you can actually see out better because of the glare reduction, which is another characteristic to the films. That particular film on the high end blocks out 92% of the glare. It actually brings the color back out from looking out your windows.
So what is the technology that allows that to happen?
The nanotechnology.
It is the
nanotechnology. We briefly talked about that off camera as well,
okay.
but it is the nanotechnology. It's only gotten better through the years, but it is miraculous as far as what it can offer, even on the clear films. With the glare rejection and heat rejection ratings, nanotechnology has allowed people to have clear to dark films on their home, and anti-privacy and UV protection. With the benefits of, I forgot where I was going with that, but with the benefits of saving on energy costs.
That's the main one, isn't it?
It is the main one, especially down here in Florida. That's what I always get, is people are looking to save on their energy bill. Their AC is running 24/7. It's summertime. The kids are home. They're letting the dogs out. They're playing. Doors are
right now,
open.
that's occurring.
Yes, 100%. And so with the right film, and of course there's many variables that go into it as far as the household, how well it's insulated, how good the windows are, revolving doors, which is where you let the dogs in and out and the children in and out. You can save anywhere from 5 to 20% on your energy bills. It's pretty baffling, but the most recent, a lot of people don't share with me their energy costs and their energy savings. But I did my neighbor's home about a year ago, and he did a 6-month average survey on his energy consumption and his bill, and he was saving on average $34 a month. Now, we live in small townhomes, not a lot of windows on there, not a lot of doors on there, but even for our small place, our bill was a couple $100 a month, and he was saving on average about $32, $34 a month.
So do you know how long it'll take before he gets his money back by chance?
The manufacturer states about 3 years average.
3
of course,
years?
Yeah, and of course there's many variables that go into that.
Sure.
East-west facing exposure, overhangs, trees, what the weather's like, but on average about 3 years.
3 years ain't bad.
No,
3
it's
years
not.
Is pretty good.
Yeah, correct. And most people live in their homes for, on average, about 5 to 10 years if they're gonna sell. Most people live in their homes forever. But yeah, that's not bad at all, 3 years.
Yeah,
3
I'm
to
one
4
of those
years.
forevers.
Yeah, I'm the same boat.
Yeah,
Bought mine 5 years ago, and I'm gonna be there forever.
I'm
so.
not going nowhere. I love my home.
Yeah, I don't want to walk down that road getting into a new 30-year mortgage rate or anything like that.
So you offer free custom. What do you call it?
Yep, we do free in-home estimates. Yep, we do free in-home estimates.
Okay.
I come out, I get the measurements, I get exact pricing for you. I show you film selections, because a lot of times people will call me up because they have a certain issue, but when I get out there and I show them the films that will take care of that issue, they don't like those films. So many times people will call me up for heat, and when I get out there and I show them the strongest films that will reduce the most amount of heat, they either don't like the dark nature of the film or they don't like the reflectivity of it on the outside. And so then we got to find other solutions for them that might not be as good as that, but we got to find other solutions, because it's important that we find something effective for their cause, but something they're going to enjoy looking at every day, because that's their home. They got to come home to that.
So when you say reflection, you mean literally like a mirror?
Literally like a mirror.
So people who would see, if you got a big bay window and you want to keep the heat out, it could end up being a mirror and all you do is see yourself from the outside?
That's correct.
Oh, wow.
That's correct. And most people that live on like lakes or have pools and stuff like that, they seem to like it because they can monitor the kids or monitor people without them knowing that they're in the window watching them. But also when you're in the pool or you're on the lake and you look at it, all you see is reflection of the lake or the pool back at you. So it just kind of adds to the scenery.
Well, that's fantastic. So you got different types of tents.
Yes.
And so customer just wants to save on their bill. They want to keep that heat out of their house.
Yep.
Contact. What's your website address?
It's www.cgtoflakeland.com.
CGT of Lakeland. And are you on social media?
I have a Facebook page, which I post up all of my work on.
Oh, wow.
I do before and afters of the exterior of the homes and the interior of each room. That way clients can kind of get an idea of what some of the films look like before and after, or especially like on different colored houses or different aesthetic type of houses. So I post up all of my work on there as well.
I remember one time I was going into Home Depot and they had these 3 windows and they had this heat lamp going through the front with no protection at all. And it burnt your hand, you could feel it. You go to the second one and I think it had like whatever you could buy at the Walmart. And when I went to that nanotechnology window and I put my hand in, I couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
It was like
amazing.
80-90%. I was like, holy Toledo. So that industry's grown since then.
Yes, industry's growing. The products have become much better. In fact, back in the day, they were mostly dyed products, and now they're not with the nanotechnology. So the warranties have gotten better. Back in the day, you used to get a limited warranty, maybe a 5-year or a 10-year warranty. Now with residential, you get a lifetime warranty on the product.
Oh, you do?
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Which includes any kind of film failures. So bubbles, darts, delamination, any type of peeling, curling, fading, any type of film failure issues, the manufacturer covers it for a lifetime as long as you own the home. So the product has gotten a lot better, the warranties have gotten a lot better. Besides that, we back that with a lifetime warranty on the labor. Oh. So we deal with like a lot of homes that have animals like dogs and cats and things like that. And so even though we have those kind of conditions to work with, we still give a lifetime warranty on labor. So when we leave, 30-60 days later, when the film dries, if you see a huge dirt patch in there, if you get a bunch of dog hair in there, we come back out, replace it free of charge.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's reassurance.
And that's a big one. I always advise clients, because in the summertime, extremely busy, and then that's when it's on people's mind because of the heat, and so they always call us up, and they're like, when can you get out here? How soon can you get it done? And it's like, well, I'm 3-4 weeks out, I'm sorry, and they want to get it done now because it's on the forefront of their mind. Sure. So I always advise clients on the phone, even if I don't get the job, I just want to give them information so they can best make their decisions, to ask these questions as they shop around. Because most people, when you call a business, anybody, a plumber, pavers, you say, how much is this? Okay, what's the warranty on it? And a lot of people would just go, lifetime, and then they don't break that down for you. And so a lot of my competition will do that, and they'll say lifetime, and they don't tell you is that's just on the film and through the manufacturer. It doesn't cover labor. And so I advise clients to ask these questions specifically so that they can make sure that they're covered. Just had a wonderful client of ours 2 years ago out in Grasslands who was having some family out. They just bought a new home, having some family out, And we tinted the previous homes, all their vehicles, their kids' vehicles, even one set of grandkids' vehicles. And she wanted it done. We were super busy. We couldn't get to her in time when family was coming down. She went with another company, didn't ask the right questions. They did a bad job, and they got a bunch of dirt in the window film. And so she literally had to repay them again to come back out and fix it. Now she got the film for free, but she had to pay for the labor of the removal and the reinstallation. And I felt really, really bad. And so that was kind of a learning lesson for us to at least take the time to educate and advise people on what to look for, what to ask, read reviews, look at content, and make sure they specialize in what it is you're looking for. A lot of these guys out here, we are inundated with automotive and window tinting shops, but that's their specialty. A lot of people do automotive and they don't do flat glass. And so I always just tell people to look at websites, look at social media, make sure they have current posts and current content of homes and buildings so that you know that they're trained in how to prep, clean, prepare, and tint those windows.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're doing it the right way. You're not in it for the money, you're in it for the community, you're in it to
100%.
Make sure people save money and repeat business. And you'll tell the next neighbor, the next friend,
100%.
that it works 100%.
Yeah, you were just, you were asking me who my competition was, and not to sound full of myself or anything, but I told you that I really didn't have any competition. Over the last few years, working with Patrick before I took over the business, I got to soak up a few things from my clients as I would show up for estimates and things like that. And they would always want to get 2 or 3 estimates from other people. But some of the feedback I was getting was people wouldn't show up for estimates. They wanted the client to measure the windows, provide the measurements to them so that they can give them a quote over the phone.
There's an app for that.
Exactly. And so, and or they would show up 3-4 hours late after the set estimate time. And one thing my uncle always said is, first, value your client's time. They have other stuff going on too. So we always had a firm belief that if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And so we always strive to be 10-15 minutes early for every appointment. And so we value the client's time. And so we get there, and as much time as they want to spend on it, that's fine. And then we're done and we're out. And then the other thing is that these other guys show up and they only show you 2 or 3 samples. And that's what you're stuck with. And that's because they will order film and they will have some left over from another job. So instead of offering their client the whole swatch book and to give the client what they're looking for, they just try to sell more of what they have in stock. And it's usually the basic films, your neutral, semi-reflective, and reflective. And when I show up with the swatch book and they're like, wow, there's a lot of films. And I'm like, yes, but we're just gonna start here with what your needs are, and then we'll kind of go from there. And they're kind of surprised because if they've already had somebody out, they're like, hey, this guy just dropped off these 3 samples, said that's all there is, and it's like, I understand.
Different levels of service.
That's just it. And that was one of the second things my uncle always said. He said, people don't want to show up because they have automotive tint shops. And when you have an automotive tint shop, you have your clients, your scheduled clients, and then you have walk-ins. He goes, it's very difficult to want to leave to go do a house or a business estimate when you know you could have had some walk-in appointments that were guarantees, only for that person to not call you back, and then you've lost business twice. And he goes, so it's just a fear of loss. He's like, so most people, if they get a walk-in, they'd rather just never show up to that appointment and never even call them, which is, of course, is not great customer service. And so hearing that, one of the other last pieces of advice he gave me when I took over the business was to get out of automotive, because it's very difficult on the knees, the back, the necks. We're in these vehicles.
Bending, twisting.
Exactly. And so I took the year's worth of input that I got back from my clients about other people not showing up and, needing a quality flat glass tinter, and my uncle saying, don't get a shop and you're married to it and you don't want to leave, that I felt that there was an opening for a quality flat glass tinter in Lakeland. And so when I took over the company, I immediately got out of automotive, switched to flat glass, and then just stuck by the 3 things we pride ourselves on, which is punctuality, quality, and customer service. And it's been great ever since. So.
Wow, someone who actually takes advice, follows through with it, and the advice works. There are very few of them. There's very few of them.
To get that exactly, and to give you a side note on that, funny enough, most younger people, especially men, pride themselves on being young and invincible. And my uncle always said, you get started on vitamins, get started on glucosamine or MSM, for your joints and your bones and stuff like that. And so I immediately did. Even being young and invincible, feeling young and invincible, I started on my vitamins. The best thing I ever did. Been doing it for years now, and when I get up on the ladders and I'm up on counters and I'm squatted down, I don't ache, my bones don't hurt, and so I always thanked him for that. Every time I see him,
That's right.
I'm like, thank you for that advice, and he told me, he was like, don't be young and dumb and naive. He goes, take care of your body, take care of yourself. And so I have ever since, and it was some of the best advice.
And you'll appreciate it even more 20 years, 30 years from now. My dad told me, son, use earplugs, bend with your knees.
Yes.
I did the best I could. I listened to his advice.
Yep.
And I'm sure it's helped. But I'm still deaf and my back hurts.
Age catches up to us all, so all we can do is try to defy it as long as possible.
Yeah, preserve what you got while you got it.
Yes. But along with window tinting, we offer decal and graphics, small decal and graphics. We don't do large business logos or anything like that, but like hours of operation or emergency exits or use other door, or if you want to list like a few services that you offer, we do things like that as well.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I'm happy for you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Our biggest challenge is just bringing awareness to those that don't know you can tint homes, and then the fact that it's architectural film and not automotive is something my marketing team this year is working on with some Google ads and some campaigning that we're doing, just trying to bring that awareness to people, because I know I would be, but summertime is our busy season. I'm trying to be busy all year round, but I know we would if people knew about it and could have the preparation to anticipate summer coming up, and save them on those energy bills and from that AC running. Because it also extends, when your AC is not running as much, it also extends the life of your AC. So by tinting the windows and your AC is not running as long, you've now extended the life of the AC 2 or 3 years. Along with the maintenance on there. It's less maintenance when it runs less. So it saves you all around.
That's right. I agree 100%. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it just takes people educating the public like you, educating, and may not be the first time they decide yes, maybe a second or third time they decide, oh, you know what?
Yep.
It is time to save.
Yep. And since my uncle started in '86, we got many great counts. We do Lakeland Regional exclusively, Watson Clinic exclusively. We work with several contractors where we do like the Verizon stores, Publix liquor stores, work with numerous glass companies in town. And so it's just something we've always enjoyed and loved doing, but we also just love servicing the community. In fact, we were talking about promoting small business, something that you do. Something that I started is I created a shop local page on my website, and I have several small businesses on there, from hospitality to service, that I promote, that I've used from restaurants like S&L or Peebles, all the way to landscapers, concrete people, mechanics, things like that.
Personal service that you'll put your name behind.
Yes, I have used them personally, and so I have the experience to say these people are worth using. And now, of course, things happen. Nobody's perfect. It's not a perfect world.
But they're willing to fix it.
Yes, they work with their clients. They pride themselves on customer service as well. And so I've kind of built that. And in talking to other business owners, I have a couple friends and a family member who just started a couple businesses. One of them, which was Craig from Crestwood Cuts.
Oh, you're not? Oh, no, you're not Chris.
Yep, good friend of mine. And it's actually enticed them to open up shop local pages on their websites as well, to promote small business and shopping within the community.
And the network, it helps. It really does.
Yes.
If you need to not get taken, first of all, if it's a corporation, do your research. Find someone who cares in your local community.
Yes.
Find the local ones.
And your local community people will generally care because they are facing the community. Chances of you bumping into them or running into them at an event like First Friday or the food truck rally or something like that is the probability is high. And so they know that. And so they got to face their customers every day. Whereas a corporate guy sits probably not even the same state, and he doesn't have to deal with you. And so it's just a numbers game to them. And if you're not happy, that's okay. And if they lose a customer, they just replace it with more. They overcharge, so they compensate for the lost customers. Whereas your local mom and pop places pride themselves on it. So they're going to give you quality. They're going to give you a good price, and they're going to back that, and they stand behind that.
Yeah.
And so it's been an inspiration for them to start their own shop local pages. I have a window washing guy that's going to do the same thing, Austin with Gleam.
Oh, I know Austin well.
Okay, yep. So funny enough is we go to the same chiropractor.
Oh, you do?
Dr. Mondays, and I also have them on my website. Dr. Mondays, family chiropractic on the north side, introduced me and Austin because we both go there. Great guy.
And he's a hard worker.
He is a hard worker. He is a hard worker. And years back, we always used to get that. Do you clean the outside of the windows? Because we always have to clean and prep the inside, but we don't do the outside. So people are like, well, now that you did that to the inside, I can really tell the outside's dirty.
Yeah.
And so we kind of started doing that. Well, it got to a point after a couple of years to where we had residual or recycling accounts, cleaning accounts for window cleaning. And my uncle was like, we have to stop this because we're leaning more towards window cleaning now because we have all these accounts and not window tinting. He goes, and we're a window tinting business. So when I met Austin, I was like, perfect. You do window cleaning, pressure washing, like this is a good tag team. So when my clients always ask me, well, do you clean the outside? And I'm like, no, but I got a guy.
I got
that
that's
guy.
Right. And that's a good guy too.
Yes, it is. And he's done several of my clients' places, and they absolutely love him. And so and I ran into him at T Largo the other day, a couple weeks ago. Had a chance to show him the Shop Small Business page. And he said the same thing. He was like, I like that idea. He goes, I think I'm going to do that on my website as well. And I'm like,
that's fantastic.
That's perfect. We can start this trend to where we're promoting our community and our businesses within our community.
It's a local network of respectable
100%
home. That's awesome.
100%.
That is fantastic.
Yes, and so it's something we've always believed in. I mean, ever since I was a kid and lived up north, my family has always owned their own kinds of businesses. I had an uncle who was an electrician. I had a cousin who was a plumber, owned her own business. My mom owned her own hair salon for 26 years. So I kind of came up from that atmosphere of small business. I kind of knew what it meant, what it took. And so it was just something we always believed in, always tried to promote. And so I try to carry that down here as well.
Well, that is fantastic.
Yes, and that's why we love what you do. That's
I
why
appreciate
you
it.
get that feedback that you
yeah.
do. It is very important to us, being business owners, to have somebody advocate for us like you do. In a way
I
that you
appreciate it
do.
very
So,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you
I
so
appreciate
much.
the opportunity, Don.
You're
It's
very
been
welcome.
great.
Thank Cohas for letting me use this beautiful room.
Yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful facility too.
Absolutely.